Let's start the revision by the question answer. The first question is why the diffusion is insufficient to meet the oxygen requirement of a multicellular organism like a humans. Let's take an example of the amoeba. As you know, the amoeba is a unicellular organism and it takes the oxygen and it takes the nutrition by the diffusion process. But the multicellular organism such as a human, it possesses a complex body designed to have a specialized cell and the tissue for the performing of various necessary function of the body, such as intake of the food and oxygen, unlike the unicellular organism. Multicellular organisms are not direct contact with the outside environment. Therefore, the diffusion cannot meet their oxygen requirement. For example, amoeba, it is a unicellular organism. That's why that cell is direct contact with the oxygen. While the human beings or any other complex tissue containing organism, there are specialized tissue which cannot direct contact with the air or which cannot direct get the oxygen from the environment. That's why the diffusion is the insufficient requirement for the multicellular organism like a human. Now, the next question, that is, what is the criteria do we use to decide whether something is live or not? Here you can see the visible movement. If we see such like walking means the movement, breathing means the respiration, and the growing means the increase in size, is generally used to decide whether something is live or not. However, a living organism can also have a movement which are not visible to the naked eye. For example, plant. Plant cannot move from one place to another place, even though it is considered as a living things. Therefore, the presence of life is a fundamental criteria that can be used to decide whether something is live or not. Now, the next question, that is, what are the outside raw material used for by an organism? Organism, as we know that each and every organism needs the nutrition for the sustain their life. So, an organism uses the outside raw material mostly in the form of food, or you can say that it is a form of diet food, or other one that is of oxygen. If we are talking about the other organism, then the raw material is required by an organism can be quite varied depending on the complexity of the organism and its environment. For example, some of the organism needs only algae, whereas if we are talking about the human beings, then it is required that animals or plants. It varies. Now the next question, what's the process would you consider essential for the maintaining life? In that you have to write down the life processes like nutrition, respiration, movement, transportation, etc. Now the next question, what are the difference between the autotrophs and the heterotrophs? Autotrophs means, auto means self and troph means nutrition. In the autotrophs, the food is synthesized from the simple inorganic raw materials such as the carbon dioxide and water that we already learned. Whereas in heterotrophic nutrition, the food is obtained directly or indirectly from the autotrophs. This food is broken down with the help of enzyme. While in the autotroph, it contains the chlorophyll, which is a green color pigment, whereas the heterotrophs does not contain any kind of pigment which can able to do the photosynthesis. Next, that the food is generally prepared during a daytime. In the heterotroph, there is no fixed time because all the heterotrophs are depend on the other animals. So food can be prepared at all time. The all green plants and some bacteria have this type of nutrient. The autotrophs example are that all the green plants as well as some of the bacteria, blue-green algae we consider as autotrophic nutrition. And at the last, in the animals, heterotrophic nutrition, all the animals, fungi that we consider as a heterotrophic nutrition. These all the points you can write. Now the next one, that is where do plants get each of the raw material required for the photosynthesis. As we know, for the photosynthesis, this carbon dioxide, water, sunlight and the chlorophyll, these four things are basic required. The raw material of carbon dioxide that enters from the atmosphere through the stomata. Stomata, what is stomata, that I already explained. Then next one, that is water. That water is absorbed from the soil by the plant root. And the last one, that is sunlight. It is also an important component, that is absorbed by the chlorophyll. And absorbed by the chlorophyll. Chlorophyll, it is present in the chloroplast at the leaf. Now the next question, that is what is the role of acid in our stomach. As we know, the stomach wall, that is secrete the gastric juice. This gastric juice is contain the dilute HCl. Now we see the what is the function of dilute HCl, or you can say the dilute hydrochloric acid. The hydrochloric acid is present in our stomach. It dissolves the bits of the food, create an acidic medium. This acidic medium kills the germs and bacteria, as well as it is help to activate the pepsin enzyme which work on the protein and break down that protein and convert it into the amino acid, or you can say the peptones and protease. Here other some function are also given. It is also help to soften the foods, kills the bacteria, stop the action of the saliva, and provide the acidic medium for the activation of the pepsin, which is also secreted along with the gastric juice, and it is present in the infants, the coagulates or the curd's milk. Pepsin is a proteolytic enzyme which is only work in acidic medium. The human of the food and the action of enzyme in stomach leads to a formation of the digestion of the protein. Now the next question, how is the small intestine designed to absorb digested food? Question number 8. What is the function of digestive enzyme? The digestive enzyme, we already see there are some digestive enzyme like lipase, pepsin, trypsin, etc., which helps the breakdown of the complex food particles into the simple one that easily can absorb by the body. For example, lipase, it's work on the lipid, or you can say the fat, and converted into the fatty acid and glycerol, while the pepsin, it's breakdown of the protein and converted into the amino acid, while the trypsin is also work on the protein. Amylase that digests the carbohydrate and converted into the converted starch into the glucose or maltose. Now the next question, how is the small intestine designed to absorb the digested food? It is very important question. While I'll explaining the small intestine, I draw the structure of villi. You can see the structure of the villi. It is not straight one. It is a finger-like projection kind structure, and it is a folded one. Why it is a folded one? Because it's helped to increase the surface area. If the more surface area, then the stomach can easily increase the absorption rate. Here you can see the small intestine has millions of the tiny finger-like projection called the villi. This villi increase the surface area for a more efficient food absorption. Within this villi, many blood vessels are present that absorb the digested food and carry it to the bloodstream. From the bloodstream, the absorbed food is delivered each and every cell of the body. And then this cell are utilize this food for the energy. Assimilation processes occur. And after that assimilation, the oxygen is mixed with this food and the energy is released. This energy is utilized by the all cell. Here the villi is folded structure as well as I explained in that small intestine part, absorption part, it is also covered with the blood vessel. How the assimilation takes place, that I explained, that all the villi are covered with the small blood vessel. This small blood vessel is carried all the nutrients, and then it is transferred to the all parts of the body. Now the next question, that is, what the advantages over an aquatic organism does a terrestrial organism have with regard to obtain the oxygen for respiration? Terrestrial means the organism who lives on the land, and the aquatic means the organism which lives in the water surface, or you can say the watery ponds, sea, oceans, etc. The terrestrial organism likes up the oxygen from the atmosphere. As we know that the terrestrial organism that are direct contact with the air, so that can easily inhale the oxygen, direct contact with the oxygen. Whereas the animals which is lives in the aquatic, they need to utilize the oxygen which is dissolved in the water. The air contains more oxygen as compared to water. Since the content of the oxygen is air is high, the terrestrial animals do not have to breathe faster to get the more oxygen. But while in the case of the aquatic animals, as I explained that it does not easily get the oxygen, it is a form of a dissolved oxygen. So they require more oxygen. That's why for the getting of more oxygen, they need to breathe faster as compared to terrestrial organism. And for that also, the terrestrial animal does not contain any kind of adaptation for the breathing process, or you can say the inhale the oxygen.